Welcome to the Genesis of Doctor podcast, where we're taking a journey through the time and space of the history of Doctor Who. I'm Joy,
And I'm Tris.
and for today's episode, we're watching the first and second serials of season 11 with The Time Warrior and Invasion of the Dinosaurs. And then we also meet Sarah Jane here as well.
Yeah. Iconic companion time.
Yep. I wasn't expecting Time Warrior to be like a historical until like I was confused when they started in medieval times and then like, oh, we're actually spending the whole episode there. They haven't done a lot of those yet.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think we were going to be spending the whole time there. I thought we were going to see the Sontaran like going throughout different portions of time, which is why I thought it was called the Time Warrior. But then when it actually like came together of he's pulling scientists from the present day into the past, it started to make a lot more sense with the title and all. But yeah, no, we haven't really had a period piece like this in quite some time. And I think this was actually really well done. I think I like this. I liked this story better than a different time they do in medieval with the 12th Doctor and Clara in season 8. I liked this one better than that.
Yeah, it was a fun story that they got here. And I also noted that like the Centauran really sounds very similar to Dan Starkey's voice. You can tell that like he very clearly just like watched this and took like the same voice.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny, despite the visual changes to the Sontarans we've had over the decades. They actually like this first one is very close to the modern depictions in terms of what they do, how they act, how they sound, and that's pretty cool actually.
Yeah. I also liked the little conversation that he was confused when he saw a girl. It's like, oh,
That
you
was
have two
quite funny.
species on this planet? And then it says humans have an inefficient reproductive system.
Mm-hmm. No, there's a lot of really funny little comments that get made that actually work for some really good like world building and like giving you lore for the Sontarans. Instead of just, everything being explained to the Doctor all the time, or explained by the Doctor all the time. Because as we saw, he's familiar with them, which is nice. So he's able to give some level of exposition about who they are. But it didn't only come from the Doctor, which is nice.
Yeah. And like his dynamic with Iron Gron was fascinating. I love their little dynamic between Lynx and Iron Gron.
The way they were just constantly ready to kill each other was genuinely very funny because they're actually very similar. And I think that was the whole point. They're two sides of the same coin.
And then when he sees Lynx's face for the first time, he starts calling him Toad all the time.
He warmed up to it pretty quick. He definitely wasn't that afraid and just immediately was like, "My God, you're ugly," and that's it.
Yeah. And I like how Lynx says, like, you think I think you look good? You all look terrible to me.
Yeah. It's so funny.
Also, a fun fact is that the first choice for Iron Gron was Bob Hoskins, which would have been very funny. Cause
that would have been funny.
I know him as Mario.
Yeah. That would have been very silly.
Yeah. I think he like wasn't available or something, so they went for the guy that got instead. Would have been very funny too, because like he's calling a character Toad the whole time.
Yeah, true.
Would be
In retrospect, it would have been very funny.
Yep.
I think what fascinated me most about this serial, though, was the sets and locations were actually very good. And the way they made use of them was very good.
Apparently what happened behind the scenes is that they told the writer, Robert Ohms, that they wanted it to be set in a castle, and then he just had to figure out a story to set in a castle.
That's it. That's all they had. Set in a castle. Wonderful.
Yep. They wanted to do a medieval castle for a story.
Mm-hmm. Man. So, how do we feel about Sarah Jane's first story? First interactions with her, the first adventure that she has. Because I feel a little bad saying it. I kind of feel like her first story was a bit weak for her specifically.
Yeah, I kind of liked the dynamic though that like she doesn't trust the Doctor and she thinks that like he's the bad guy for half the story.
Yeah,
that was fascinating. I think other than that, she was just kind of like she just kind of fits the companion role. a
Yeah,
bit
she
too
kind of
easily.
slotted into the companion role a bit too quickly for a journalist. I don't feel like she was asking enough questions and doubting enough things. Um,
Yeah.
like I think her initial introduction and how she ended up getting into the TARDIS was really good, and how she really didn't believe that she had time traveled. But as soon as they, rescue or kidnap, however you want to look at it, the Doctor, she kind of like very quickly goes to trusting him and believing him, and I kind of feel like that happened a little too quickly.
Yeah. Like she's so dedicated to the idea that he's the bad guy, and then,
Yeah,
well, now she'll
immediately
just work with
drops
him.
it. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I kind of feel like I would have liked to see her reaction proper to the TARDIS because we didn't get that in either episode.
Yeah. Apparently, we'll only see the interior of the TARDIS once this season, which is in the next story,
Oh wow. Okay.
and then it disappears for like 2 seasons after that too.
Uh, wow. Okay. That's strange.
Yeah. Yeah. Sarah Jane was interesting for like the first half of the story, and then the second half she's just working for the Doctor the whole time, and
Yeah.
there's not that much to do with her.
Yeah. And I think it really is because she's a girl at a time in the first story.
Yeah.
Like she's not meant to be there. It's not like she can go and question people like a journalist would in this ancient time. I think they definitely tried playing around with a lot of fun ideas, and she proved to be very clever. I love when she yelled, "Look at the giant spider in the kitchen." That was
Yeah.
hilarious. But like, yeah, I feel like after the first half, there wasn't anything that she did that we couldn't have had like Joe or any other companion do. There wasn't anything that was like unique to her once she decided to side with the Doctor.
Yeah.
That's only for this story, and we'll get to it.
Yeah.
But I do think she was a lot better in the second story. But again, we'll get to that. She changed costumes way too much in this story. Actually, that's something I have noted. Randomly at that.
Yeah. She does change clothes quite a bit. I think it helps when the companions like on their own as well, just to like
Yeah,
establish them a bit better. And she's not on her own for half of the story, so
yeah.
like it's the next story where she's off doing her own thing the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
and that works better to establish her.
It does. It really does actually.
Oh, and we do also have our new title sequence, which is probably worth noting.
Yes, the new title sequence where we have the entire silhouette of John Pertwee.
Yeah.
It's very
Part of
silly
it,
looking.
like it's definitely more modern Who than the last
It
one
is.
was.
It is. It's definitely more modern, but it's also very silly looking.
Yeah. And when we get Tom Baker, it's still like the same title sequence, but they put Tom Baker instead of John Pertwee, obviously.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. You wouldn't change it again after only one season.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's almost like the same idea as Modern Who, though, where you're kind of going through the time vortex, even though it's not necessarily what it is here.
Yeah. It invokes that idea, though.
Yeah, and then we have our diamond logo as well,
Yeah.
just iconic.
Our iconic, very now modern looking logo.
Yep.
I gotta say too, I have noted by the end here, I just want to make sure I didn't forget to mention it. The fact that Lynx gets taken out by an arrow to the probic vent is pretty dark, actually.
Yeah.
Considering he's taken others out from like laser fire, that was quite a dark death. But really well done, and it makes me wonder if that Archer was meant to be like a bigger character than he actually ended up being. Because it felt like he was meant to be almost like the temporary companion for the story, but he's not there often enough to really earn that, nor earn like the kill, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I find it really funny because he does feel like a character who is very loosely written like Robin Hood.
Yeah. Apparently, there were talks about having him become a companion. But then
Interesting.
those talks didn't go anywhere.
Interesting.
Like they even asked the actor, like, "What is your availability? Would you be able to stick around a bit longer?" And then I guess he
Yeah.
wasn't.
I don't know, just Hal just being a servant of like the other lords, and he happened to be an archer. I feel like they needed to do more with him.
Yeah.
I really thought we were gonna learn that like he's like some real version of Robin Hood as opposed to what we had in Modern Who.
Yep. I did like earlier though when he's having a discussion with Lynx and says like, your species is only weak by being hit in your probic vent, and then I forget what the guy's name was.
Professor Rubish.
Yeah, Rubish is like, okay, so I'm gonna make sure I hit that specific spot.
It's a good thing he made a little monocle for himself.
Yeah.
So we can actually see it. I'm very curious how he avoided like detection the entire time. Like,
yeah.
He was manually brought there. So Lynx knew he was there. Did he just deem him worthless because he couldn't see and he just didn't bother anything with him? Like, the hypnosis didn't work on him because he couldn't see?
I guess he probably just pretended he was hypnotized when Lynx was in the room, but we never really saw that.
Because all we ever saw was him hiding.
Yeah. So I guess Lynx probably just assumed he was hypnotized and didn't worry about it.
I mean, he clearly didn't really think twice about most of them, so.
Yeah. Rubish was a great character.
Very funny. Yeah, he was honestly a really great character. I would have liked to get more of him. The fact that he really just took everything in his stride and just, oh, fascinating, and immediately like started like going on about like the scientific wonders of it or his own scientific theories about what's going on. It was really good banter with the Doctor, actually.
Yeah. I loved his like early conversation where he's like, it feels like we're in a medieval castle, but it's very well preserved. It's like, oh, do you know what time it is? Oh, it's like 4 p.m. No, I meant the year.
Yeah, no, it was pretty great. Like, sir, maybe you're not in a well preserved medieval castle if you teleported here out of bed.
Yeah. And then the Doctor gets great lines in this too. Like he's just a tourist. He likes it here. When Lynx asks why he's on Earth.
Pretty much.
Then, the definition of the word humanity was always rather a complex question, wasn't it?
Yeah. A lot of good lines.
This is the first time they ever mentioned Gallifrey by name. I didn't realize we were there now.
That's true. It's always just been like the planet of the Time Lords. This is the first time they really say it as Gallifrey. Wow.
I kind of expected it would be like when they go to Gallifrey or something. But no, it's just randomly inserted into a line here.
I kind of thought it was gonna be back in the Three Doctors.
Yeah.
So I was surprised it wasn't then.
They just wanted to establish it, I guess, before this production team left because they're on their way out now.
Yeah.
So like, okay, we just throw it into a line here, I guess.
They didn't solve the fact that Lynx gave all of them guns, did they? Thinking on that.
Well, they blew up the castle that the guns were in.
They blew up the castle, but didn't like everybody other than Iron still manage to escape though? Did they just abandon all their weapons when they fled? Did they not bring any of them with them?
Well, Lynx was supposed to be going around disarming all of them, so.
Or Hal, yeah, that's true.
Hal was, so they were supposed to be disarmed.
That's true. So, that's true. It just occurred to me. It's like, I guess all the guns blew up, all the rifles blew up.
Yeah. It's also just weird, like, they could still like pick through the ruins of the castle, and those guns would probably still be working. Some of them would probably survive.
Probably.
It is also weird though that they're just like not concerned about all of Iron minions just escaping.
I mean, they kind of just followed him because he was strong.
Yeah.
Without him, I think they'll kind of just do whatever, and I think they knew that.
Kind of would have assumed they would have like a line though that like, the other Lord would have soldiers ready to capture them or something.
Yeah, or something.
But then they don't.
Nope, it's just farewell, Doctor.
Yep.
You truly are a magnificent magician, or something like that.
And then he says he's no magician, and then he disappears in the TARDIS, and Hal's very confused.
Yeah, the way Sarah Jane is also like, oh, I wouldn't say that. It's like, girl, you've barely been in the TARDIS. I don't think you've earned the right to say that or know that yet. If anything, you should be wondering how he can get you home, and then he describes the TARDIS to you, but no.
It did also remind me of, like, the Witchfinders at the end. When the doctor's like, it's not magic, and then people are like, what? Wait, what's going on here?
Yeah, that was a good one. I do always love when we get like characters reacting to the TARDIS dematerializing. It's always fun. It's very whimsical.
Oh, and another line of the Doctor's was, "A straight line may be the shortest distance between 2 points, but is by no means the most interesting."
Just to defend. The most interesting. Yeah, yelling at the Brigadier about that.
And that's to defend the fact that he can't play the TARDIS. Although he can now, because he fixed it in The Green Death, and I guess now he can pilot it a lot better.
Presumably.
Because he's actually going to where he wants to now.
Thankfully. That really would have made this story and the next one a bit difficult if he wasn't.
Yeah.
Although I guess the next one technically was a little bit off, because it's definitely not like the same days.
Yeah, it was like a couple weeks off, I think. They do say it hasn't been a long time, though. And also just worth noting that as of season 11, I think there's only like 2 episodes this whole season that were junked. And the junked ones were, like, we were watching them because they had like a secondary copy of it. So like the quality of the video will be a little bit better going forward.
Okay, yeah. That's fair.
Because I did notice that, like, some of them, it looked like a bit clearer than the other ones were. And that's because, like, we're now watching, like, the original copy instead of, like, a camera pointed at a TV copying off of a different one.
Yeah, the quality was a little bit shaky at times. It was inconsistent. I thought it was, like, my internet connection or something.
Yeah.
Initially.
And I think it's, like, the first episode of Death to the Daleks was junked and then is like a different copy, and then I think other than that, everything we're watching now will just be the original copy.
Okay. I see.
I think like the first episode of Invasion of the Dinosaurs was also junked, but we're past that now.
Yeah, that's true. Do we have more to say on the Time Warrior, or should we use that to shift over to Invasion of the Dinosaurs?
I didn't have much else other than I thought the robot suit was funny, especially when the Doctor goes inside of it.
Oh, that was great. That was great, because it really was just a suit of armor.
Yeah. And then he has his whole sword fight. You gotta have your John Pertwee fight in there.
John Pertwee loves fighting. It's clear.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we can move to Invasion of the Dinosaurs. I really liked this story, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Like, the dinosaurs definitely aren't good, but the story itself is really good.
The dinosaurs are incredibly charming, but that's about it. Like, it's fun for the time. Yes, yes, absolutely. And that's okay. I'm totally fine with that. It was clearly like a fun time. I appreciate the effort that was put into them, but yeah, it was quite silly. All the dinosaur scenes. Yet, I can confidently say I like this better than Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, the Matt Smith episode.
Yeah. Even the production team was upset with the dinosaurs, because the thought process was that they really liked the Josh Higgs from last season, so they decided we're going to try doing something like that again. So we're going to write a whole story about dinosaurs, and we're going to plan on having dinosaurs here. And then when they went to like the person that made the Josh Eggs, they said, "Look, I can't do dinosaurs, so I'm going to send you to one of my friends." And then their friend said, "I can't do dinosaurs, I'm going to send you to one of my friends."
Oh no!
And then when they got them, it's like, "Oh, these are not great.
They're just toys." Yep. They're just toys on miniatures.
They were very disappointed by how they couldn't really move very well.
They still did a lot to make them creepy. Like, I noticed, like the T-Rex, they like had like drool coming out of its mouth, which is like actually kind of well done, to be honest.
Yeah. And then this is also written by Malcolm Hulk, who did many stories, mainly like I would say like War Games and the Silurians ones are the notable ones. Mm-hmm. And this is also his final story, because apparently he was also upset by the dinosaurs. And he's just like, okay, I'm good now.
Damn. That's disappointing because I actually really liked it. I thought it added to the charm of it all. I understand like the idea of it's meant to look better than that. I definitely understand that. But looking at it as now looking back on this show from like the 70s, like I find it charming, even though I know back then that probably was not the impression. But no, honestly, everything going on here was actually like really cool. Like the mystery in the first episode was really well done. I think the surprises of how the dinosaurs were handled, while like the props are debatable, I do think like the surprises of how they were handled were good. The way time kind of distorts, the way the Doctor's immune to the time distortions. The way they had the dinosaurs like burst through walls and destroy houses was great.
Yep. I did also just like seeing like, there's like dinosaurs before Jurassic Park, and obviously after Jurassic Park they kind of standardized the designs with them a lot. Yeah. So I think it's fascinating to see like a different look for dinosaurs.
True.
Because they're a bit more colorful than you would expect them to be in more modern stuff.
Yeah. Which is great. That's part of what made it fun.
Yeah. And then the Doctor gets his Who-mobile in here as well.
That was something, all right.
I think it's so funny how like they clearly didn't really write it into the story, and it's because John Pertwee just commissioned that and said like I want it to be in the show.
Oh my god!
So it's like the production team didn't commission that car. That John Pertwee commissioned the car and it's like, hey, can you put this in the show? And so like, okay, we'll do like one scene of it.
Is that the only scene of it we ever get?
I think it shows up in Planet of the Spiders briefly.
Okay, I was going to say, if that is the only scene it ever gets, that is hilarious. But wow, John Pertwee, you really loved this role. That is abundantly clear if you commissioned that.
Yep.
And that makes me think the reaction from the Brigadier watching him drive off might have been genuine.
Yeah, in the show they never call it the Who-mobile, but that's what everyone calls it.
My god.
It's the Who-mobile.
Did that make it into the Magic the Gathering set? I'm curious.
I'm not sure. Bessie's gonna get jealous, though.
Bessie's in the Magic the Gathering set.
Yeah.
No, the Who-mobile did not get into the Magic the Gathering set. I'm sorry, John Pertwee, that thing is ugly, but I do like it, like in a funny way. That thing is definitely hilarious.
Like, one of those things where it's like, this is designed to look futuristic, but it doesn't really look great.
No.
It just looks futuristic.
It also definitely doesn't look street legal, that's for sure.
Yeah. I think a truly fascinating part of the story, though, has to be Yates. What they did with Mike Yates.
I love what they did with Yates. It is a great follow-up to what they did with the Green Death. I just wish he was on screen for his character's resolution. What happens for his character. I wish that was on screen instead of a passing mention from the Brigadier.
Even just, like, a bit more of a moment for someone to sit down and talk to him about it, would be a bit fascinating. I will say, though, that he does show up in Planet of the Spiders, so we will get to see him after this once, and then that's his final appearance, is Planet of the Spiders.
Okay.
But I just think it's fascinating to take a character that we've known for, like, 3 seasons, and then now he's a traitor. It's a fascinating direction to take it.
I'm sorry, I just decided to, like, look up the Who-mobile, and apparently it was classified as an invalid tricycle that could go 100 miles an hour. That's nice. Insane! Pertwee, what were you doing?
But yeah, I think it's so fascinating that, like, Yates is just a traitor now, and, like, they totally shifted his character. Like, Russell T. Davies wants to have traitors in unit all the time, but they're the people that are introduced in that story.
Yeah,
he
so they're, like, never
a
interesting.
returning character.
No, you can always tell who it's going to be.
Yeah.
I really liked this, though, because this is someone who, like, we came to know as almost another companion at unit. Not quite as much as the Brigadier and Benton, but, like, the next one right there with them. And he did so much in the Demons. Like, he
Yeah.
basically was a companion then. So to see how it all played out here was very fascinating. I loved the fact that it's kind of clear that everything he's been through has affected him. Everything with the Green Death affected him. Maybe,
Yeah.
after everything that happened there, it kind of left him susceptible to others' influence.
Yeah.
But it's genuinely just fascinating.
Because he spends a story being hypnotized by a corrupt uh, human, like, CEO, and then he decides,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we don't need to have companies like that. It was a bit funny to me, though, how he's like, I did not sign up for murder, but, like, you're planning a genocide of the entire planet. Like, you're doing a lot worse than murder, Yates.
Yeah, I guess he saw it as it was merciful and humane because they would never have known.
Yeah.
It would have been like that, like a snap of a finger. But yeah, everything going on with that whole plot. I will say, at first, I wasn't. At first, I was not feeling Sarah Jane's involvement in this whole other expedition going on. But as they showed how it connected to everything else and the way it did, it became a lot more interesting and a lot better. And something
Yeah.
that she was very well suited to do because she's a journalist who will always ask the right questions and do her best to convince people. I'm sure, like, Joe and others could have done it as well, but it worked very well to Sarah Jane's strengths because she technically only ended up in this situation after. Well, she ended up in this situation because of her journalistic instincts.
Yeah. I loved her little line towards the end where she's like, "Oh, I choose my friends greatly, don't I?"
Yeah,
Because, like,
so,
every person
I
he goes to is a betrayer.
I don't understand why she trusted him, considering they spent the first half of the story her complaining that he kept trying to get her thrown out. Why
Yeah.
did she start trusting him?
I don't know. I mean, I guess he did let her bring her camera to the T-Rex, but then somebody said the T-Rex after her. So,
Yeah, but like that was also clearly like a trap in that case. Like, I thought
yeah.
when he signed off for her, I thought that was just gonna be her getting thrown out, and she had to find her way back in.
Yeah. There were just a lot of fun scenes with the dinosaurs in this, though. I love the doctor beating a pterodactyl back with a mop.
That was hilarious. The way they handled a lot of the dinosaurs and the character interactions with them was fun.
Yeah. And then the weird random, like, past soldier guy as well.
Yeah,
Just,
they never brought anything like that back again, which was a bit disappointing because I really thought that was
yeah.
they were going to keep playing up that idea.
Could have been that, like, they would establish that, like, there's something wrong with their machine, so it wouldn't even do what they wanted it to,
Mm-hmm.
even if it did work. But no, they just didn't worry about it. You do have to wonder, though, like, how were they planning on explaining to the people in the quote unquote spaceship that they just landed in a perfect replica of London?
Well,
Because,
it
like,
wouldn't have been a perfect replica of London because they would have because it would have brought everything back to that age. I don't think it would have just been bringing that age to here. I think everything would have like gone back to that time basically.
well, they said though that, like within, like, their border, it would have not affected anything there. So, like, the middle of London would have been the same, according to what they've been saying. And just everything outside of London would have gone back.
Oh, that is weird. You're right.
So it's like they would have landed in London and just like, oh, just don't worry about the fact that
I guess they would have
this is
had
here.
to tell them at that point. It was once they
Yeah.
arrived because at that point there's nothing they could do about it except continue with what their plan with what they had planned.
Yeah, I guess. I also find it funny that they have, like, a camera in the past watching the dinosaurs somehow, and they don't really explain how they are doing that.
Very strange. Which implies they willingly picked that like person who was not a caveman by the way, which means they picked him from an entirely different time.
Yeah, he was like the Crusades time,
Mhm.
roughly.
which is even stranger in this case.
Yeah. Also, Benton gets a lot to do in the story as well.
I
He's great.
love how Benton was like, well then, Doctor, you better get to work. And he, like, prepares himself to get beat down.
Yeah.
I love how much Benton trusts the Doctor. He really is a companion that just doesn't travel in the TARDIS. But he's very good. I really like Benton.
And Benton's so proud of himself to be able to punch the general.
Yeah.
Beat up
to which the Brigadier is just like, don't make it a habit.
Yep. It's just great how, like, Benton and the Brigadier were both just like, they always knew, obviously, the Doctor's not the bad guy, so we have to, like, figure out a way to get away with helping him.
No, it's very, I don't know, like, it's just, this was such a fascinating story. There's so much about it, actually, that just really fascinates me the more I think about it.
Yeah. Like, it is a bit sad to think that, like, even back at this time, they were having to deal with all the same environmental stuff that we're doing now, though.
Yeah, it's telling. I think that is part of why it was so fascinating to me. The fact that there's so much here that you could do this exact story now, and not a lot would change other than the production quality.
Yep. Still having to deal with people that think that, like, well, the environment would be better without humans, so let's just get rid of a bunch of humans. Yeah, there are people that still think that to this day.
Mm-hmm. I will say, I think my main frustration with this story, and it's a mild frustration. It's not like I disliked it because of it, but it was one of those, it definitely made me roll my eyes. The fact that, like, basically every official that is here, aside from the Brigadier, conveniently is in on the villain's plan and part of it.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like that's a governmental oversight, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's just very strange. The fact that there was no one saw that coming. There was no signs of it. There was no, like, struggles. It's not like you learned, oh, half the people that are going to be going back with them are people that found out and were also taken prisoner, like Sarah Jane. That would have made sense. But
yeah,
no, it's just by chance everyone in authority here except the Brigadier just happens to be in on it and part of the problem.
Yeah. I guess
everyone
you could
who wasn't fled. Like, I don't know.
I guess you could think that, like, I forget what the guy's name is, but, like, not Finch, but the other guy, it probably would have, the plan probably would have been that, like, once he was in charge of London, that was when they would do it, because that way they would have everyone on their side, possibly.
I suppose.
Because, like, he mentions he's new to this job when he's talking to Sarah Jane. So it could just be that, like, they purposefully timed it around when General Finch and the other dude would be able to do it. But you would expect, like, someone in the military to, like, not be a traitor.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. It was a mess. I think that part of it was a bit of a mess, and I think that part of it, like the political side of it, basically could have been handled a bit better, I think. But otherwise, I do think it was a fascinating story. Of course, Sarah Jane's the one that teaches us all these people are actually bad because she's the one figuring it out, or unfortunately learning about it because she gets too close to it all.
Yeah. And it's funny seeing her, like, in a spaceship all of a sudden. You have to wonder, like, was she hypnotized or, like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And then she just
it
opens
took a
the
little
airlock.
long to figure that out, but it was good, I think.
Yeah. Also, the subtitles were not working on Tubi TV for this story.
No.
For, like, half of the episodes.
No, the subtitles were not.
Just didn't have any. It annoyed me.
Would have helped. I do enjoy having those on usually.
Yeah.
I think what's weirdest about this story, the more I think on it, is if they like, surely there could have been a point where the Doctor proposed just taking them into the past or a different planet or something. I feel like the Doctor could have proposed, "Oh, you want to go somewhere else so bad, fine," and like given them the option for them to see. Oh, maybe we don't want that.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the Doctor made a whole point of like understanding what they were going for, but talked about why it was so bad. But I don't feel like he did enough to convince them, or really even like the viewer, like he does understand where they're coming from and why they want this. I think he only really said it. He didn't really like express it, and I think if he did, story wise, this could have taken a different turn, which would have been a little bit more interesting than where it ended, I think. But it ended in a way that was somewhat satisfactory, I suppose, where basically the two people behind it all are, sent to some random point in the past.
Yeah. He could definitely just offer to like take them to an alien planet and just like give them an actual alien planet to do all this.
Yeah, like some uninhabited planet. I'm sure the Time Woods wouldn't have liked him doing that, to be honest, but
yeah, I guess he's probably just thinking that like they're probably always watching him, so
yeah,
maybe modern Who Doctors would do that because they don't have to worry about that.
That's true. I mean, the modern Who Doctors have tried that even.
Yeah.
So
I did also like though that the Doctor mentions that like the cause of pollution is greed. That's the main issue is greed.
yeah, he's not entirely wrong. So
yep. I don't think I had much else written down about this.
I don't think I do either. I think I went through everything. Ultimately, I think it was the characters were very good. Like most of the character writing, the performances were very good. This was a far better story for Sarah Jane. I think it definitely worked well. It worked far better for her strengths, the story. And I'm liking her banter with the Doctor. I'm liking the way she and the Doctor already bounce off each other. And how he keeps her safe by, oh, well, I mean, she's acting as my assistant for now. And everyone kind of gives a look. It's like, but she's a journalist. But,
Oh, I did like at the beginning, though, like when they return, it's just deserted London.
Yeah, I liked the mystery of that.
Creepy atmosphere. And apparently they filmed that by just going around London like in the very beginning of the day before anybody woke up. And they just filmed a bunch of shots of it.
That's really funny, like 5 a.m. filming.
Yeah.
God.
And then also, episode 1, if you noticed on the titles, it was just called Invasion, so that you wouldn't know it was Invasion of the Dinosaurs. You wouldn't
know the dinosaurs, yeah. That's good. That's good. I like that.
Marketing material kind of spoiled it anyways. But if you didn't look at the marketing material, you wouldn't have known. But yeah, I think that's about all we had on these. I will note that Big Finish released a new 13th Doctor audio, and it was very good.
Ooh, excellent.
Return of the Doctor is what it's called. I find it so funny how they're kind of making it like a main character trait of her in these stories that like she doesn't tell anybody about like any secrets and stuff. Yeah. Because like in the TV show, obviously she never told anybody about the Timeless Child plot point. So they're kind of just being like, she never opens up to anybody about emotions or about like, anything if she can help it. And then like this episode was like, well, there's a psychic monster that's kind of affecting people's minds, and so she kind of has to talk to Yaz about feelings and stuff because Yaz is being affected by it, and so they have to have heart to heart. And she's like, I don't really do these very often.
I don't say things like this.
Yeah.
Interesting. That forcing the Doctor to open up is good.
Yeah. And like she has a moment like she did with Graham where she's like, I'm not good at these conversations. when he wanted to tell her about worries about cancer, and she's like, I'm not good with these conversations.
I do wish that was handled better though. I do feel like that should have been handled far better instead of just, oh well, I'm awkward. But
yeah,
I do think the point behind this audio story sounds like it handles it better, which is good. But I am still a bit bothered by how they handled that point with Graham specifically.
in these audio stories, I feel like they're kind of trying to take those moments that people don't really like about 13th Doctor and just like do them again, but try to handle them a bit nicer.
Which is good, I think. Which is good. It allows you to better emphasize strengths of the character and not quite redo, but reevaluate certain elements of the character to make new strengths, new defining traits, in addition to what's already there.
And the story in particular is fascinating because it's about, like, it opens up with the Doctor saving the day, and then they go into the TARDIS, and then Yaz, like, flips a switch so they reappear on that planet 10 years later. And then it's about how, like, well, you didn't actually save the day. You actually left something here. So it's like a fascinating story about, like, why does the Doctor never return to planets after they save the day?
Yeah, we don't get those often. Often.
That was the thought process, was that they wanted to do that concept, and it works really well.
Yeah, we don't get that often enough, because there's definitely... You could... Almost every Doctor Who story can get a fascinating follow-up like that, realistically.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
I guess that is a good transition, though, because our next two stories in Classic Who are Death to the Daleks, which is a 4-parter, and The Monster of Peladon, which is a 6-parter.
We're back to Peladon.
Yep, so The Monster of Peladon is 50 years later from the previous story.
Okay.
We're just going back there. So the Doctor is returning to a place that they saved the day at previously.
When was the last time in Classic Who we had that? Was that with Steven and Dodo?
Like, last time we had what?
Last time we had like the Doctor like going back to a location they've already visited after they changed things. Because I know we had that as a plot point in a story with the first Doctor, Steven, and Dodo.
Can't really remember.
I don't think there's been other ones though. Not that immediately come to mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there was really just the one story with, like, the Ark in space. Or not the Ark in space. I think it was just the Ark.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the only one, and that's one story, you know?
Yeah, that's one
two
story.
halves of one story.
So that's part of the same story where the intent was that instead of revisiting an idea. Yeah, it's fascinating whenever they do it because they don't do it often enough.
Yeah. Apparently
I'm definitely looking forward to this.
The thought for the Monster of Peladon was going to be that it was going to be like a much shorter amount of time before they returned. But then they shifted it, I guess. Maybe they couldn't get like David Troughton back or something, so they decided to just push it forward.
Oh yeah, that's right. If you can't get certain actors back.
Yeah, because if you want it to be the same king, then you'd have to have the same actor. So they just
either that or someone who looks like him, older. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, if you would like to join us on our journey, we do have a Patreon. So for just $1 a month, you can get access to our Discord, and where we'll discourage discussions between episodes about what we're watching, and you can also get early access to episodes. And then for $5 a month, you can watch live as we record, where we'll have text chat that will chat with you, and you can tell us about why Invasion of Dinosaurs sucks, if you want. And just as a reminder, make sure to watch Death to the Daleks and The Monster of Peladon before our next episode. You can find those on BBC iPlayer or Tubi TV. And if you support us on Patreon for $1 a month, you get access to our Discord and early access to episodes. I've been Joy. You can find me on social media at JoyContent.
And I've been Triss. You can find me on most socials at ToonTriss.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.